Morning.
All
I
right, good
guess
morning, gentlemen.
I guess he won't be joining us. It's okay.
Morning.
All right, we are here again. Another great week of college football. This is Triple Option, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit the like, subscribe, notification button, please. And that helps with the algorithm, whatever that is. But yes, we're going to talk NC2A football. We'll get into some matchups here. I'm sure the gentlemen on here, Brooks and Zack and Coy, we're going to talk about some some upsets and some games that were not upsets, and we'll get a little FCS talk in as well. So everybody, buckle up and get ready.
All right.
All right, let's get it. Triple Option, brought to you by Terrence Jones. Triple Option, yes. The track was brought to you by Terrence Jones, Jones Music Company LLC. We thank them for the track. Gentlemen, Brooks, Coy, Zack, what a weekend. We can start off with let's start off with you guys, the Georgia Bulldogs, and your impressive victory over Mississippi State. I'm certain that was the expected result. So what are your thoughts on UGA?
My thoughts are UGA have separated themselves from the rest of the class, first off. But on a side note, the world better be glad that Mike Leach is an asshole and he can't behave and he's old now. Because if he was anywhere else in some of these other programs, i.e. the ones that we talk about every other week, he would be a real problem. And I prove me wrong. Prove me wrong about that dude.
All right. That's Zach's favorite picture right there with Kirby Smart. And Coy, I did hear what you said there about Mike Leach as a coach, and basically saying that if he was in some other programs or even a stronger program, if you will, he would, with his coaching style, he would be successful. What do you guys think about what Coy's saying there? We,
No, like Mike Leach is a gimmick guy. He doesn't run the damn ball. Like it's ridiculous how little he runs the ball, and you can't control the line of scrimmage. And I don't understand why Calvin likes Mike Leach so much, but then he doesn't like Brian Kelly when Brian Kelly has won at all of the different levels that he's been at.
Oh, wait, Zach. Has Mike Leach not won everywhere he's been?
He ain't played for no national title last I checked.
Has he won everywhere he's been?
What has he won? Brian Kelly won the Division II national championship. He was successful, very successful at 1AA. Then I believe he's the one that helped get Cincinnati on the map, and he helped Notre Dame play for a national championship.
And I do believe I said I have no problems with Kelly. He's a good coach. He was not the fit for LSU. Now, if you're gonna quote me right.
He seems to be a pretty good fit right now. When you win, you're a good fit.
Put Mike Leach at damn LSU.
I remember Mike Leach having one outstanding season. What was that? The who was it? Crabtree catch thing at Texas Tech where they went like 11-1 or whatever, 12-1. So that was like his most outstanding season. I think he's very good at places where you don't have high expectations.
No, I think everywhere he went, you know why they get rid of him?
Because he locked a boy in a
there we
shed
go
or something.
And before that, when he went to the Utah schools and he did some dumb shit with a woman, like I said.
he is not a terrible coach. He is nice to bring in, but it's ridiculous how little he runs the ball.
Okay, let's spin it to UGA, the UGA side of things. Brooks, how did you feel about your team performance? And then pass it to Zach.
They did what they needed to do. The thing that I'll try to spin. I mean, there's a lot of positives to bring out. Lab McConkey seemed like he's over his whatever. I think he had turf toe maybe. What's the team's leading rusher and leading receiver, and that's good to see because people were wondering what was going on with him. He just hadn't looked like himself. It looks like he's getting healthy there, and that's good because again, a lot of people maybe not follow Georgia. Our number one receivers still hasn't played since the second game of the year, so it was good to see him step up.
Mr. Brooks, welcome to the family. What about your quarterback?
He was good. Threw a couple interceptions. I think the turnovers they're so good that the turnovers haven't really affected them yet, and I'm worried about that. If they play a team of a high caliber, you can't turn the ball over like that. So that does worry me. So
he was good with a couple of turnovers.
Yep. But overall, we held Mississippi State to what, 47 yards.
No.
47
yards about your quarterback. I'm gonna let you live. I'm gonna bring that up every week. All right, I'm done.
We held Mississippi State to 47-yard rushing, so made them pass it 51 times, made them one-dimensional. As a defense, that's what you want to do, right? Get them in predictable situations. So.
This defense this year might be just a tad bit less than the team last year, but some of them players are better than the ones y'all had last year. That's amazing. So
yeah, especially I did catch that play where it was 4th and 1, and this may go back to what Zack may have been saying about the one-dimensional aspect, but I mean 4th and 1 and they throwing a swing pass. It just boggles my mind, but Georgia's defense is tough. I think it was a solid victory, but you want to wrap up the Georgia talk, Zach?
They got to win. I'm not like overly impressed with it, but at this point, you just want to keep getting wins until you get to the college football playoff. I'm kind of with Calvin. I don't understand if we play against a better team, which I'm not sure if we're going to actually play against any better teams this year.
You should. The Dogs should not play against a better team this year.
The turnovers, I'm always concerned about turnovers, especially like down at the goal line. He fell on it, but fumbled the ball when you came under center. That could have easily got kicked by the center or another lineman, and then that's a red zone turnover. The 2 interceptions, the one down the middle, I'm not going to be too upset about. His arm got hit. Those things can happen. That was a good pass rush by Mississippi State. The thing into the defensive lineman, Bennett is going to have those probably because he's short. And I still don't like the fact that it doesn't feel like we can just run the ball when we want to run the ball. And I may be expecting too much, but I'd like to be able to do that. And we'll talk about Goddard's team, and I'll explain why I'm not sure that they can do as much as people are making them out to be. But they got to win, and that's all that really matters. We'll focus, I guess, on something else later.
I think, Zach, you're like a lot of other people, or like people like me, that when I see a very, very dominant defense like that, it's automatically that you build a running game to give that defense everything it needs to win the games for you. And the Georgia Bulldogs don't have it. It's more or less like, we run the ball a little bit here today. But when you're a team like that has a defense that can literally oppose your will week after week, it's almost expected that you oppose your will on both sides of the line.
It would be nice. And I got this for you, Brooks. Do you listen to Dog Nation, Brooks?
A little bit, yeah.
And they'll go into recruiting there. I kind of feel like our offense now is focused on recruiting a high level quarterback, and high-level wide receivers the way we play, because I think Bennett threw it 37 times last night, and that just seems like a lot for him to be putting the ball in the air. But it's kind of like this every week now. He throws it 30+ times. I would love to see Beck. I was hoping we would get more of a margin between us and them to bring in the backup quarterback, but it doesn't seem like he's going to play too much this year or for the rest of the year.
It's been his team, brother.
And
They haven't been scared to throw the ball this year. I think our offensive coordinator has a lot of autonomy, and if he thinks the game plan is to throw the ball, he'll throw the ball. I think
that is correct.
I think Kirby's evolved a little bit in that. I don't think he has to have that prototypical NFL run, play action kind of scheme that he kind of started in. I think he's evolving and letting people he trusts, like Monken, run the offense. So it's kind of he's got to get used to seeing it. But yeah, it's kind of weird to see a Georgia quarterback throw it 37 times. But I think that just speaks to what Kirby is trying to do. He's trying to evolve with the times. So don't want to get stuck in the times, especially on offense in college football. That's a death sentence.
Well, if this was Stafford, I wouldn't be concerned about it, or if it was Justin Fields. But Bennett just doesn't seem like the type for that. But it is what it is. As I said, we got the victory. Until we lose, I probably shouldn't complain too much because I probably am being an old curmudgeon.
I'll say it's weird. It's weird because Bennett has done so much to prove himself, and there's just still doubt. People just because he does not have the pedigree, walk on. He's still, But I think that's a good. To me, I view it as a good thing. I think he's, he plays with that chip on his shoulder. But it's interesting to, that there's a lot of fan base still doubts him. Doesn't. Even after he won the national championship, it's interesting.
Well, I just want him to perform. If he performs like he did against Oregon and Tennessee, I got no problems. It's when we get these turnovers because Edwards got benched a little bit, I think, because of his fumble early in the game. Even though they didn't count as a fumble, it was a fumble, and he sat out. But this is dragging on. Georgia did well. Kirby has a great opportunity this year again.
LSU, Arkansas, gentlemen.
I'm very happy we're going to be playing LSU in the SEC championship instead of Alabama. Thank you, LSU.
Yeah, this this is going to be. I think this is going to be a double-digit line whenever it comes out. I think Georgia's going to be favored by 2 touchdowns or more. So I think it broke. If you're still looking at the Georgia perspective, I think it broke the way they wanted it to.
Absolutely.
I don't think this team can hang with Georgia.
Oh no! Thank you, Jesus. We don't have to see.
Wait. Brian Kelly's a great coach.
And his quarterback, let me tell it, all his quarterback can do is drop back and run the ball. So he's done well to put LSU in this position. I'm not worried about Daniels at all.
I'm just saying.
His quarterback, this quarterback may develop over the next few years, but Bennett's better than him.
Exactly.
Be interested to think about what will happen if Arkansas had their quarterback in this game.
The quarterback play was terrible. Both of them. The
fumble. Was game. Oof, I don't know. Yes,
the fumble at the end of the half that led to points, and then what was it? Another turnover later on, and what did 2 more after that? So no, Thank goodness LSU. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, that was a
quarterback with.
Oh, go ahead, Corey.
Kelly, the quarterback whisper. Yeah.
Daniels has gotten better this year, but he ain't nobody to be afraid of. But LSU is talented.
Bad is not good. Better bad is not good, and yes, LSU is talented. I stand on this, just like when it comes to my team, I get into their ass. If you're Alabama, if you're Georgia, if you're LSU, if you're Auburn, if you're Florida, there's no excuses for the access to players you got and the recruits that your nationwide recruiting teams. That goes for Texas, that goes for USC, that goes for Ohio State, and it goes for Michigan. You can get you a quarterback that is a middling to better than average quarterback in a college on campus at those programs.
Well, you better.
So for you as a coach to come out and say, "Oh, my quarterback can only do this," well, get your ass about it. You should be fine.
Well, you better go use your consultation fees for A&M because they ain't had a quarterback all year. So Jimbo probably needs your advice to find a QB.
I was done with A&M when they got rid of Kevin Sullivan.
All right.
Spend more money to get a little bit worse production.
Yeah, I think they showed. I saw their records side by side, and they're pretty similar.
It's just why they give them the extension. If they hadn't gave them the extension, they'd be fine right now. Instead, they're dead man walking, at least at the moment.
Yeah. It's probably because they didn't anticipate the type of season that they have in here with the number 1 draft class on paper coming in.
Yes, and guess what else? Texas is now moving to the SEC, which is going to drastically change their recruiting base.
Good point.
So.
Good point.
Will it drastically change their coaching? Because that's another one.
Yep. Hey guys, a team that's not going to make it to the SEC championship game this year, surprisingly, is the Crimson Tide. 30-24 victory over Ole Miss. With the victory, and you guys mentioned earlier about LSU over Arkansas, this officially eliminates Alabama from reaching the game in Atlanta. We'll start with Coy. This is his squad. He's been documented being critical of his team, and looks like you were right, Coy. But what led to Alabama not being able to make it to the SEC championship game, in your opinion?
Well, one, as young the team goes. 2, Alabama is one of those teams that is used to the whole versus individual players being what drives you. And I'll say it again, piss poor. Well, I won't say the secondary play for Alabama this season has been abhorrent. They're not being good. You got one person that can bring pressure. If the other 2 kids that I thought would try to start showing had done what had kind of added to that added pressure, maybe, but this is just not. Well, it's a good team. This is just not a national championship caliber team. It's just not.
And a couple of close losses too. I mean, those 2 losses turned into wins. There's a whole different outlook in the standings.
I'm one of those people that when the games come to, I don't really, when it gets to be those close games, it comes down to the better coaches win and the better prepared team, because the best teams usually take advantage of those of the lucky draws. Because quite honestly, if you want to be honest, the game against Tennessee did everything in their power to give Alabama that game.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in on Bama before we switch to Tennessee?
I look at this game, and from the very beginning, very first drive, Ole Miss drives down there, 4th down, deep in their own territory. They don't take the points. They go for it. They get stopped. Like if you want to beat Alabama, even though you may not think they're as good as years past, you got to convert there. Like you got to convert, put in the end zone, or at least put points up. You can't have an empty possession like that. Like, I knew as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this game's going to be close. But when you miss opportunities like that, it's just hard to beat a team like of Alabama's caliber. So,
I guess I would first say, when's the last time Alabama lost a game and the team that beat them didn't score 30? And I can point to Coach Mays telling me that. So That's the first thing. You need to put you need to get 30 on the board if you're gonna beat Alabama. And the second thing, and they don't win every year. I did think this would be a year they would win the championship, and I had them, but I'm not writing Alabama off yet. As I just said a segment ago, I am very happy they're not playing in the SEC championship.
Y'all ready for interesting note?
What's that?
This is the first senior class in the last 4 or 5 that don't have 2 national championships.
Well,
wow,
can't win it every year, thankfully.
Ridiculous.
But I mean, for Lane Kiffin, I kind of thought Lane Kiffin might get the Auburn job. I'd still, maybe if I was Auburn, I would offer him depending on how much money he's going to ask for. But if you can't beat kind of like a wounded Alabama team,
he would be a good fit for Auburn.
I don't think that's a better job than Ole Miss, to be honest with you.
I think Auburn, I think they're a championship program.
You know how I feel about Ole Miss? If they had got rid of that damn flag sooner, they could be in the same boat as Alabama and some of these other schools. I mean, I love Alabama. That's my team because I was raised on that team. But what is the difference between Ole Miss and Alabama as far as colleges, locations, and any other thing else to go there?
Alabama has a great tradition. I know Ole Miss has a much longer tradition in football back when they won the 50s or 60s.
What I'm getting at is because Alabama embraced integration and separated a certain mindset a lot sooner. That's the biggest difference in the two. Because no matter, there's always Ole Miss still has to as when they recruit or when they reach out, they still have to deal with the problem of, you sure you want to go down there? I mean, because the kids that you recruit are the kids you recruit. You can't change that. So.
Well, I would say Auburn has access to higher level recruits, Brooks, that you're close to Georgia, and that's gonna give you access to them, and you're closer to Florida.
Well, that's for years. That's what Auburn made his living off of. The best kids in our area came. Kids did. We didn't go to Georgia. We went to Auburn.
And what area was that, Coy?
Down in central Columbus, that part of Georgia. Because it's funny because if you think about it, we're right on the border with Phoenix City, and what was always funny to me, the kids that were from Phoenix City, which Auburn's 30 minutes from Columbus, most of those kids went to Alabama before Georgia. Before they went to Auburn, and the kids in Columbus went to Auburn. That's why there's always been a traditional pipeline to kids from Columbus going to Auburn, whether it was Chris Shellen, whether it was Donald Johnson, whether it was Dale. What was some of the other ones? Oh, the 2 kids that came from Carver. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, proximity there. So
yes,
Leonard.
Yeah,
Leonard, especially during my day when I was playing high school ball, all of them got every Auburn got all of the top prospects in that window.
All right. Well, speaking of Auburn, they had a victory over the other team that we mentioned earlier, Texas A&M. So good for Coach Williams there to get a victory. And as you can see here, Auburn was ecstatic to get a win.
Yes, they were very ecstatic to get that.
Mine has times changed when you get a win and Auburn celebrates like that. But good win though for Auburn.
And they just need 2 more to be bowl eligible.
What I would like to see, because really Auburn has no plan on who they're going to replace.
Don't say
long term. No, I'm not going to say that. What I would do is take that interim coach and give him a year contract and see if Cadillac Williams can do something with that team. I mean, seem like they seem to respond to him a little bit better than the previous coach. let's see. What's you're gonna put it like whoever comes next gonna get fired anyway. So why not give the man a year, get who you want?
That's interesting. Actually, an interesting idea. You don't see a lot, like giving a shot to maybe an interim coach, giving him a short contract, just letting it play out a little bit more. You don't really see that. You just find a coach, give him a 4 or 5 year deal. Yeah, I mean that's an interesting perspective. I think more schools should try that actually. Like the Georgia Tech coach, I think he should get more time. Just the quality, just the way they turn their season. Got a few wins after being so bad and string together a few wins. Like let him stick around for a year or two. He's from there. He's got Nick Saban ties. Let him, give him a year or two contract. See how he does.
Yeah.
I'm not giving Cadillac Williams a job at Auburn. Auburn is a championship program. If I can't get the coach that I want to get this year, then I would agree with you, Calvin. I will let him be
who's the coach?
interim for a year.
Who are you gonna get? What's your short list?
Can you convince Dabo to leave Clemson?
Hell no.
I think it's Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is I think on the short list. I think they're gonna try. I think they'll go after Kiffin probably.
If Kiffin ain't good enough, Hugh Freeze just lost to UConn yesterday. I have not given Hugh Freeze a job. I know he beat Alabama a couple times at Mississippi. He is not getting my job when you just lost to UConn. That's gonna be a no.
But he just beat Arkansas.
And then you went back and lost to UConn. It looked kind of like the SEC. You go play LSU, then the next week you're playing Ole Miss. Like it don't stop. But who's leaving a job? Like who's leaving a good job? Like Kirby's not leaving Georgia. If you have a great job in college football as a coach, you're not leaving it. Like what's the guy? Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley's not leaving USC. So unless you're gonna pay them a boatload of money, so who are they getting anyway?
I think an interesting candidate is the guy who's the guy who got fired from he was the Carolina Panthers coach, Matt Rule.
Oh, Wilkes.
Yeah, Matt Rule, I think.
Matt Rule.
Before that. So.
Ruling. Okay.
Hey, Brooks, I'll be very happy if they hire Matt Rule as their next Auburn coach.
I think he's going to be hot.
I'll sleep well at night because we won't have to worry about Auburn.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd be more concerned about Lane. Lane does well with quarterbacks, ends up developing them. I know his defenses leave something to be desired, but I think if he gets better, recruits, like even yesterday, they held Alabama to 27. And I think he can bring that running back with him to Auburn. That would be good too.
Let's talk about Tennessee. Zack, you had something to say about Tennessee?
Hey, great job, Tennessee, beating up on Missouri, taking out your frustrations from losing to Georgia. That's awesome. I give them credit.
I'll say this: if you want to get in the college football playoff and you're not going to be an SEC championship, that's what you got to do. You got to put up numbers. You got to catch eyes. So I think they did what they had to do. Put up 66.
I don't see how they get in over anybody that's a conference champ.
I think Alabama winning really helps them. I think a 3-loss Alabama, you look at that's Tennessee's, supposedly best win. I think that hurts their resume. So I think they should be happy that Alabama pulled that one out.
Well, they gotta hope. I would assume USC, UCLA don't win the Pac-12, and then I would say, tell me why a Clemson or a North Carolina, if they were 1-loss champion, the ACC don't get in over them.
Hey, I agree. I'm just where they're at in the rankings. It seems like the committee has put more value, into Tennessee than the ACC or the Pac-12. So I'm just looking at it from their perspective. Not saying I agree with it. That's what
I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see how it all shakes out, because it all sounds good right now until you have to do a rematch between Georgia and Tennessee. And you've already seen Georgia dominate Tennessee across both line of scrimmages. And it's like, USC might be more interesting for eyeballs to put there instead of Tennessee or North Carolina or maybe even Michigan or the Ohio State Michigan loser.
All right, guys. What's your thoughts on Tennessee? Well, we already got that. I'm sorry. Ohio State. You just mentioned Ohio State, Zach. So, any quick thoughts on Ohio State, gentlemen?
They did what they supposed to.
Yep. They're just survive until, just doing what they have to do to the Michigan game.
I want to see how good they are when they play Michigan. They haven't played a great schedule to me, and I don't know why they keep. Well, I know why they keep getting credit. It's what I'm going to about the Tennessee thing where you got to match it up. If it comes between a one-loss Tennessee and a one-loss Ohio State, it already feels like Ohio State is getting the beauty contest love from everybody. Because where's their great victory at?
Here's the thing about it. If they beat Michigan, that means it's going to be an undefeated Michigan team. If they lose to Michigan, I'm sorry, they'll be an undefeated Michigan team. So,
I mean, I haven't seen anything great out of Ohio Sate.
I haven't seen anything great out of either one of those teams. They're beating who they're supposed to beat.
Yes,
but we got to realize that both those teams still have the talent pool, and the coaches they have are not bad coaches. So,
does Ohio State have the talent pool? Are they dominant across the offensive line of scrimmage? I watched that Notre Dame game. They weren't imposing their will on Notre Dame like that. And if Notre Dame, and I fussed about it then, if Notre Dame doesn't send a double blitz, a double A gap blitz while they're in the red zone, they probably make them kick 3, and they still had a chance in that game, and that was on the road. But as the gentleman said, they kept themselves alive, and that's all you want to do: win, stay alive.
Okay, guys, we got 4 games. I'm gonna flash up on the screen, and then we just go around the bend and give you comments on them. Here's game number 1.
It's bad for Michigan.
Illinois losing to Purdue.
Hurts Michigan's resume because I think they play Illinois this week, and then whoever.
Everybody thought Illinois was going to be more than what Illinois always is. So, yeah.
And now I think from the West Side or whatever in the Big Ten, what is it? Guaranteed to have a 3-loss opponent in the championship.
All right, guys, game number 2. TCU Horned Frogs with the close victory over Texas Longhorns.
They did what they're supposed to do to try to keep their name into the championship. The committee and everybody, if they can, they're hoping that TCU could drop a game so they don't have to invite them.
They just play from behind all season. You wonder at some point, like all these narrow wins, and you feel like at some point they're going to lose. I just have a feeling. I just don't see them going undefeated. I think they're going to drop one. You play with fire. You play all those close games. Eventually, you're going to get burned. I think it's probability.
I think if they make the playoffs, it's going to be the typical of one of those teams where every time we see whether it was Oklahoma or whomever from out there, they're going to give such and such, and then they go take it to the woodshed.
If they're the 4th seed and they play Georgia, I don't think it's
So let's look. The top 3 seeds are, if they say if everything plays out today, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan and TCU, right? Who do you think? Which one of those teams do you really think TCU is really going to compete with?
I'm gonna say once again, I watched Ohio State play against Notre Dame. I don't know why everybody is giving Ohio State this pass.
Zach, I've been on every team all season long. Georgia's the only team that's kind of separated themselves. But we're going what we've seen, what we got. Ohio State and Michigan versus TCU. You see my point now?
I'm not taking TCU out of the mix. I ain't seen anything that doesn't mean they compete. And look, if I'm being real, though Georgia tends to get prepared for these big games and be up. We just played Mississippi State last night. Now we're a different team, home versus a road or neutral site, but TCU is beating some teams, and I think TCU should be in the college football playoff, and they should play Georgia in the first round. TCU, I am supporting you.
If they run the table, they should be. But I guarantee you, everybody's hoping they lose a game because they would rather have a one-loss Clemson or rather have a one-loss Tennessee or some of the other teams, and because those teams seem to be more competitive outside of Clemson because Clemson's got something missing.
I am not hoping that. And Brooks, you and I both should be hoping that TCU makes the college football playoff and they play Georgia in the first round. TCU is an outstanding program, and I'm not going to get up here and talk badly about them.
Craig, we're not gonna do this bias crap.
I'm not being biased. They're outstanding. They need to play Georgia.
No, they're not.
Or the Pac-12 champ should be in and play Georgia.
Well, we have Brooks saying that TCU's not going to win out, and Zack saying that they're a great program. So
yes.
where does the truth lie here?
Zack's lying from the pit of hell. That's where the truth lies. Zack wants the most favorable matchup for the Georgia Bulldogs when it comes to pace.
Damn right.
So that's Zack's analysis of TCU, ladies and gentlemen.
In other words, Zack is saying, bring TCU on so we can hang 30 on them, and we can
absolutely
concentrate on the championship game.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, congratulations to Vanderbilt. Much needed victory. It's been a long time since they had a quality victory like this over Kentucky. It's the first time they won an SEC game in over 1,100 days. So good job there with a victory over
26
Kentucky.
Game SEC losing streak, to be exact.
There you go.
26 games.
Wow. To put that into perspective. So, there's an upset there. We have some others that we'll talk about in a minute, but I know you guys want to stop here for a moment. Oregon, who played Georgia to open.
Hold on. Going back to Kentucky Vanderbilt. I thought Kentucky had a top-ranked QB that was supposed to go in the first round, and I thought their running back was supposed to be an SEC-level top running back.
Mm-hmm.
How are they losing to Vanderbilt? And then I thought the coach was supposed to be pretty good, too, to be honest.
Well, how did they lose to Vanderbilt?
They got beat because guess what we found out? Kentucky.
Vandy rushed for 264 yards.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
That's how they lost.
Kentucky was supposed to be good. That quarterback is supposed to be a first-round quarterback.
I get he probably has all the physical attributes, but I don't see it out of him. I haven't seen it.
Make it right. And get a better look around there.
All right, gentlemen. Okay, so now let's get to the big one last night there with Oregon falling short at home against Washington. And so with that said, now Oregon is going to definitely drop. And they took a loss at the wrong time, in my opinion. But I like to hear you guys take on this game.
Well,
I think me and Zack both said at the beginning of the season that Pac 10, 12, 14, 13, whatever they want to call themselves this week, they always throw a game. Remember when we were saying that USC or UCLA, don't worry, they're going to throw a game late, so they really don't matter. But until they do, they got to be ranked high. Well, Oregon fought themselves all the way back after the Georgia loss to lose to Washington. Unacceptable.
126 in the fourth quarter. They're on their own 34. 4th and 1, they go for it.
Yes. Talk about that sequence there, right there. 4th and 1 going for it on the other side.
I mean, it's one of those calls, like it's a risky call. If you get it, good. But if you don't get it, they're already in field goal territory. Like, man, that's just a tough call to make. And he's a young coach. I don't know if that was the right call.
What happens is you get these coaches that get out here. We start labeling them young geniuses, and they're changing the dynamics of college football and numbers, running stuff out the numbers shit, and the next thing you know is when it comes down to it, dude, do it's been working for the last 70 years. And they get these bright ideas, they get to well, we're gonna do this. And then they try 4th and 1 and on your own territory. Odds are any coach with any sense, unless it's the last minute of the game and you're down, you go ahead and kick the ball.
These coaches got to start playing Madden. Lanning and I was pulling for Oregon to win. You brought up that Sinkers, Brooks. I'm bringing up your Bo Nix got injured. You have your backup quarterback in. I want to say it was it a minute and change or 2 minutes and change left somewhere around there. It's a 40-second clock, I think, in college. Had they ran their first play, and then after they ran the first play, they snapped the ball with like 30 seconds left on the clock, on the play clock. Had they ran it down how they were supposed to, they could have either ran it down to 45 seconds on 4th down, punted the ball, or at least made Washington use their timeouts. And instead, I don't know how they don't understand this math. Kind of like with Brooks, like, dude, kick it and try to make this a tie game and go to overtime or something instead of like Brooks is saying. It was you need one play and you in field goal range, and that's really all Washington did. They made a couple plays in field goal range. Now, it didn't help that on the next series when Nix came back in, I think it was a 3rd down pass. Running back hit him. In fact, it might have been 2 passes on that series. Hit the
he dropped
dead in their hand, and they dropped it. But why even put that pressure on you anyway? It was Oregon, I guess, still has a chance to win the Pac-12 or whatever. But even if they win it now, they don't get the opportunity to go back and show Georgia how they improved per Bo Nix, and it'd be a different score in the game. So that's unfortunate, because I would have been happy to play Oregon also, because I thought they were a fine football team too.
Yeah, I mean, the decision making there is head scratching, and again, I take it back to all the Madden days, and a lot of these people grow up playing Madden and using that zero button to hurry up offense and just rush things. I mean, there's times where you just got to get back and play some traditional football and manage the game a little better. There was nothing but downside on that, in my opinion. I mean, everybody knows it's 4th-and-1, so you're going to play it tight on the defensive end side of things. I mean, and even if they got the 1st down, they still had a long way to go down the field with the backup coming in. So you probably was going to end up punting the ball away anyway. So I just thought that was a horrible decision and basically knocked them out of the playoff.
Yep.
All right. Well, enough of that. Let's get another game up here right quick. And there's another upset in the Pac-12, 13-14.
It was 14-14 when I went to bed. That sucks for UCLA.
Yeah. So there you go.
And now this is a doomsday scenario for the Pac-12, because I think UCLA and USC play next week. If UCLA beats USC, that probably eliminates your conference from the CFP.
USC is their only hope.
That is, you don't want to be hanging by that thread.
All right. Any more thoughts on that one? I'll pull up another game. All right, Central Florida over Tulane. There was a battle of ranked teams, so we had to get it up here. 38-31. Thoughts?
Good job. You got it up there.
I was pulling for Tulane. Sucks they didn't win that game. They had a good shot. They were in the pole position to be being a New Year's Six bowl. So disappointing, but I think this their program was pretty bad a couple years ago or something. So still a great rebound season for them.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. We already talked about this just a little bit, but it has to be noted again. UConn with the victory over Liberty. This is an upset. So good for UConn. Haven't had a victory of this type over a top 25 opponent since around 2015. So that's very good for the UConn program.
Very good for Jim Moore, and it shows what coaching can do. You bring in a coach that has a vision, which, you know, I know Auburn won't jump to it, but if you want to start talking about candidates, he wouldn't be an Auburn fit, but a guy that can go in there and make things better for the Auburn program. I'm sorry, for the Connecticut program. That probably helps you out for Auburn, or some type of program that needs to be built up.
Right. He can turn your program and get it from disarray to kind of a professional ran organization, so to
Yes.
speak. That's what he did. That's actually what you're seeing at UCLA, the resemblance of him, the remnants of him being there in that program. So now, can he get you over the top? No, because on game day he makes poor decisions, or he hired people to make poor decisions.
Falcons coach Jim Moore.
And poor decision was the reason why he couldn't win when he was there.
And Jim Moore was in Washington, correct?
I believe so, yes.
At the University of Washington at one time?
He was at UCLA. Was he at Washington? You sure that?
Yeah.
I think he might have been.
Yeah. Well, we'll put it on the YouTube page, but we'll get it out there on there. But yeah, he's Jim Moore. Okay, great job there. All right, guys, we're at the 14-minute mark remaining, and we'll talk about the FCS level of college football and throw a couple of things up here, and then we'll get to a stopping point. But Samford, they are in the FCS playoff. They won this. They're the SoCon champions. So congratulations to Samford. They punched their
George's
ticket.
resume. Good job.
Yeah, good job. Good job. I visited that campus a lot when I was in college. Good job.
Oh yeah, because you did play at Furman, Coy. You know, the great linebacker that you were in your day.
In my day. Now I'm just a grumpy old fat dude.
Yeah. All right. Howard defeats my parents' school, South Carolina State, 28-14.
That's
pretty
impressive.
That was a shocker to me.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Howard got whipped a few weeks ago.
They sure did. Great analysis there, Zach, because they did get whipped. And good bounce back for Howard.
South Carolina State, most people would say are the third, fourth best team, maybe fifth, in the Celebration Bowl grouping, whatever you want to call it. So
over there in the MEAC. But speaking of the Celebration Bowl, Coy, your timer couldn't be any better about that. North Carolina Central, they punched their ticket. They will be in Atlanta beginning of December. Celebration Bowl, they punched their ticket with a 48-14 victory over Norfolk State. So it will possibly be Jackson State and North Carolina Central. And North Carolina Central has been strong all season. And they do have a dynamic quarterback. And just like last season, Jackson State did lose to South Carolina State in the championship game. So we have to keep our eye on that. But South Carolina State still has, Jackson State still has more work to do. We'll get to that in a minute. But yes, North Carolina Central, keep an eye on them. They are the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference champions. Court. Oh, go ahead. You have something to say there?
I still say A&T is the second best team in the conference in that grouping of teams. I don't see Jackson State losing this year, because I think last year it was more bravado and talk than the actual goods. And the team that Prime has down at Jackson State this year is actually can back up the mouth. You understand what I'm saying? We look at the Travis Hunters, because the kid is for real.
He's legit. We have
to give him that. Kid is for real, and he does automatically. Every time I see him play defense, I'm like, okay, we've seen another corner that is probably one of those ones that whenever they decide if he would say they change the rule and he goes next year, which they're not, he's going to be a top 5 pick. But what makes it even more sick is Have you seen him play on the other side of the ball?
Yes, I saw
Yes.
him
And I
play
mean
yesterday.
the athleticism, yeah, that's it. But it's like he almost has a natural instinct. But the more I've seen the kid play in high school and the more I've seen the time because he's been limited this year, he does play corner like a wide receiver, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, he definitely a unique talent,
And
and he
outside
will
of your
be
boy at Ohio State,
in the
because
NFL.
I mean outside of your boy at Ohio State, um, which I still say Sanders should be should be at least at the athletic club when it comes Heisman time. Which actually technically he has the most consistent season
Well,
because
well, we'll
let's be
pause right
honest,
there
the
for a quick.
Heisman.
Yeah, we'll pause right there for a quick second, Coy. You're suggesting that Shadur Sanders, who did throw 4 touchdowns yesterday, his total yardage was around 180, I believe, somewhere in there. But he was knocked out of the game. There were other couple touchdowns taken away by penalties that he did pass, so possibly could have had 5 or 6 touchdowns yesterday. But you're saying that he should at least be in New York for the Heisman selection. Are there any guys, gentlemen, that you all have that separating themselves in the Heisman race?
North Carolina quarterback Drake Mays.
Mm-hmm.
He's been good. Are you
Yeah,
talking
you got
about a team that's really rebounded from they lost to App State the first game. They've rebounded. He's a big reason why he's been really good.
then you got the Ohio State quarterback because he's the quarterback of Ohio. He puts up decent numbers and he's the quarterback of one of the big five undefeated traditional brands. So he's going to be put there.
Yep.
Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, USC. If you can go undefeated, your quarterback's going to be at the athletic club. It just is what it is. Sorry.
All right. Okay, and then Corey, your team that you like, North Carolina A&T, defeat Charleston Southern, extend their winning streak to 7 games, and so they're still on the roll.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, guys, last matchup, and then we'll get our final thoughts for the entire show. FAMU, they go into Alabama State, they get the victory, extend their winning streak to 8 games. Their postseason hopes are still alive. They're in the FCS playoff picture. So that was a much needed victory there. Pretty much eliminates Alabama State from that. Smith, receiver at Florida A&M. You will see this gentleman right here in the NFL. There's no doubt in my mind that this gentleman right here will be in the NFL. So be ready for that. But Florida A&M with an impressive victory. And again, they stay alive because the team that represents the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl, the team that finished second will have an opportunity to play in the FCS playoff. So that's how that works out. So that was a big victory there. All right. So any final thoughts for today?
FAMU had a disappointing season, even though they're going to make the playoffs. Am I wrong, Zach?
Wait a minute. Say it again now.
FAMU had a disappointing season, even though they could possibly make the playoffs. Am I
By
wrong,
their
Zach?
expectations, nope. Their expectations, they expected to be in the Celebration Bowl.
Or at least in the games they lost to Jackson State. They played Jackson State, and it showed that they're not supposed to be on the field with Jackson State. That's right now. If you're gonna be those teams, that's your bar. That's your bar. So it is what it is. So I'll let
All
it
right.
be.
Well, any final thoughts on the overall college football scene heading into next week?
As a Georgia fan, great opportunity to win a second national championship. Got to keep going, keep building, but things are breaking the right way, and things we're good at, line of scrimmage play. The teams that are in that discussion right now, I don't think they're good enough to deal with us on the line of scrimmage. So I hope everybody keeps winning.
Yeah.
Brooks?
SEC championship set, LSU, Georgia, and I think it broke the way Georgia fans would probably want it.
Absolutely. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want no parts of Alabama. Everybody can say they did. Look, I'd rather go play somewhere else. Alabama is Alabama. Coach Saban is Coach Saban. Now that they out the picture, it ain't no program in the country we can't beat.
I mean, I watched that game. I watched that Bama game yesterday, and with hardly any weapons, Bryce Young still makes plays. And that I do not want to play him.
I'm good.
He's the best quarterback I've seen in college.
Yes, he should be the Heisman winner.
I mean, he'd go win the Heisman, but the best quarterback,
yes,
I've seen.
I don't want no pieces of him. Like we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you, LSU. LSU did us all the favors of the world.
You're not going to win an SEC championship with a quarterback who you're going to baby, and not going to give him the reins. You're just not going to beat a team like Georgia. And so I think it broke the way Georgia fans wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's we're going to win by 20 against LSU.
Oh, hey Corey, final thoughts, Corey, in 1 minute.
Them two brothers are correct. But actually, I think this year, I know y'all don't want any parts of Alabama, but this is probably the best year for y'all to get what they've gotten them.
Nope. I seen that before. Nope. I saw it last year. They played Auburn, had to struggle to get a victory in overtime in Auburn, and it came in and dropped 41. Nope.
I know, but the thing about this team is last year's team still had identity. This team does not have an identity outside of Bryce Young. Other than Bryce Young, which nobody should want to play against that young man.
Yep, they don't have an identity yet. It took a raucous Tennessee crowd, them getting 17 penalties, missing a field goal, and then Tennessee had to get a field goal at the end of the game, and then LSU, which I still don't know why Saban didn't go for two. Go for the extra point. He went for two when it was like 21 or 2017 or whatever, and that was a last-second play in overtime. So we good.
What's that? But y'all know me. I'd rather see the matchups because actually the problem, the Georgia Alabama game, it comes down to two things. Y'all weakest point on offense is their weakest point on defense. So
I'm good. Look, I'm good. I ain't ashamed to say we'll pass on that one. Let us get a little rocky and we'll pick our TCU, USC, Ohio State, Michigan. Bring them on. We ready. Come on.
All right. Well, with that in mind, guys, great job. Appreciate everybody being on this early in the morning, getting the college football in. And now it's time for me to go watch Seattle play Tampa Bay.
Falcons.
All right, Zack,
right now. Yes,
appreciate you, brothers. Mr. 411, appreciate y'all. Y'all have
all right. All right, for Brooks. Yep, for Brooks, Corey, and Zack, Mr. 401, we out of here. See you next week.
Good one.